Hey guys, thank you so much for taking the time to get involved in the poll and help us decide that hip escapes are one of the most important basic functions to understand when beginning to train jiu-jitsu and learning self-defense. Training during a pandemic is really tough, so this is sometimes the best that we've got, but it shouldn't be forgotten, it shouldn't be ignored. You can do something at home even though you're really not safely able to train with your peers, and we're all feeling that loss. And so this video is really intended just to help you bring a little bit of jiu-jitsu into your life in your living room. By no means should this be a replacement for training in the gym. It's very important that you go to the gym when you're able to safely and put that time in. Anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week would be ideal if it's recreational. If you want to start to compete, I would highly suggest to maybe train a little bit more than that. But it's up to you, it's your game, do what's comfortable for you. So the hip escape. In the ground fight, right, where there was the takedown game, we came to the floor. How many times do we see somebody end up in the guard? It's a popular position. This person gets to attack, and then this person has to escape. And a lot of the times, if I'm going to escape this position, I'm either going to get to a mount, to a half guard, which isn't ideal for me still, and a lot of times a great place for this person to get to, or I was successful at the guard pass and I came all the way to the full side control. So what I want to control is I'm controlling them from the side, but this knee I either think about controlling their hip, and then this knee I'm trying to have either at the shoulder or the head. And you can of course have the legs in, or you can have them out with your butt a little bit high. But the point is I'm driving into their chest. I want to make it tough for them to breathe. I don't want to let them get these arms in instead of their frame, which we'll talk about, because it's going to be a big help for them to be able to get out of here and stop getting attacked, right? And so as I'm here driving in, right, if I'm here, I can change. I can do things, I can move, but you see that my hips and my shoulders were kind of two different things. The upper body is controlling you here, while the lower body is actually trying to advance my position. And so for you, your hips are going to be the basis for advancing your position to stop being attacked at a minimum. So when we're drilling hip escapes, a lot of times you'll see people doing what's called shrimping, which is hip escaping down the mat. You want to keep your elbows in tight, you want to have good extension on your legs, and you really want to step close to your butt as you begin to move so you travel somewhere. The example would be that we're here and we're going to base our leg, we're going to pop all the way up and move ourselves, right? So we're up, but I'm planning on being more up on one leg than the other because I'm going to be moving it. So light on my right foot, heavy on my left. We're there, we go. We're back, and then we move. If I were to not lift up high and not step close to my butt, that's lazy. And essentially, you're just wiggling around. You're not really doing anything. But the hip escape is you're escaping your hips with your frame up. And you go. Notice I almost landed for a minute. So you want to think about removing a body part from under them, and then if you think about the mechanics that that's asking you to do, let's say that we want to recover to like a seated guard and then stand back up to the feet. Well, if I'm in here, a hip always off the ground, and then we're able to fight. But it takes the use of the opposites. In order to do something helpful so that you can get off the ground, get your back. You never want to be flat and settled, but sometimes it happens. The hip escape's the beginning to start generating a position that'll help you out. So now with our partner here, to see what they want and what we want, we mentioned the frame earlier, which I think is another huge piece of the hip escape. Side control, even though you're down here, you can actually cause pressure on this person. An unhealthy pressure you can create is if you hug, pulling them into you makes them heavier. But don't forget, a lot of times they'll want this here. So while I'm working out my problem, I'll let my leg be closed. Sometimes you'll see people step. I don't love it. They can reach out and toe hold you, which isn't super common, but this is also somewhere that now this is all you're doing, but I can at least let it be close, because of course the hip escape, I'm going to want that type of direction going in anyway. And then the other thing I love to do is really drive the back of my head and shoulders into the ground, because if you look at the hip escape, they're going to be there anyway, and it kind of traps this person's arm. So maybe I'll keep this here and my frame is in place, and then if they want to remove their arm because they don't like that I'm doing that, well, as soon as they remove the arm, you go. So you have to kind of wait for them in a way too. Let's just say that they passed your guard, real aggressive, they're heavy, they're here, and you're like this. How do I get my arms back in? We're here, they're heavy, heavy, heavy. I bump, and their knee is going to want to be tracing up high. But as I'm here, I'm going to find their leg and cup the body and start to press, and eventually you will be able to grind, circle, and once the elbow can be in there, you're going to tuck close to your body, which will be across their stomach. And I always cup my hand this way it doesn't come in, which is still fine, because of course one hip escape is that we're here. If this goes through, this hand under their armpit, and then you bump, and then you're going to turn. Another way to do it is that this arm is just across the belly, their head is low, it's heavy. Push their face away, bring your elbow in. Now I'm here, and now the hip escape, we're up, away, and ready to have some fun with our match. So don't forget, you always want your elbows in tight, you always want to have a frame, so don't hug your opponent. If you're going to bridge yourself up, a force like a sprinting motion, and then you're going to push yourself away from your opponent. You can use the bottom leg. I would suggest not to, since you want to escape it, but again, this is just a suggested video to talk about some of the things that make the hip escape so important. Please like and comment if you have ideas, things you wish you would have saw in here. We can add them and make it the next topic we go over. But the bottom line, guys, is that we're all doing this because it's a pandemic, and as much as it sucks, we want to keep ourselves safe while also learning how to keep ourselves safe. Jiu-Jitsu is a lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching.